Welcome to the forum for candidates in the November 5th general election for Mayor of Ramsey. The forum is being recorded by QCTV for multiple showings. Thank you, QCTV. Editing is only authorized for official media reporting excerpts. Edited clips of candidate forums may not be used for partisan political purposes. Meet the Candidates forums are held without a live audience, and voters' questions were submitted online for the candidates. My name's Karen Varian, and I'm the forum moderator and a member of the League of Women Voters, ABC. I do not live in Ramsey. I live in Blaine, so I can't vote for any of these candidates. The League of Women Voters does not support or oppose any political parties or candidates for office. I'm sure each candidate cares very much who you vote for, but the League does not. The League does hope that each of you will vote. The goal of our forums is to help citizens become informed voters. The candidates for Mayor of Ramsey are Mark Kuzma and Ryan Heineman. Welcome. In lieu of opening statements, we will begin with 2 questions which were provided to the candidates in advance. This will be followed by questions from the public which were submitted in advance. We will end with a closing statement from the candidates. For the first 2 questions, answered are limited to 90 seconds. We'll start with candidate Kuzma. What is your motivation to run for this office, and what experience or knowledge would help you to serve effectively?
Well, hello. My name is Mark Kuzma. I am the current mayor of the city of Ramsey, and I'm running for re-election. I've lived in our community for 28 years now, and I love our community. I've been fortunate enough to live with my wife now. We had our 50th anniversary this year. I have 2 daughters, 1 son. I have 5 amazing grandkids. I've been on the council now for 12 years. I've served as the mayor for the last 4, and I was on council for 2 terms prior as the Ward 2 councilman. And on the time that I've been on council, I've served on a number of our commissions or our committees that have given me lots of knowledge about how the city operates, and I feel that during that time I've gained quite a bit of experience that will help me in the next role. I believe as we see the city growing, and Ramsey's got really good growth going right now, I believe that my experience trying to bring the rural from the urban growth is important to be able to help get that all accomplished. And one of the things I should tell you is that I've owned my own business for 42 years. I had a printing company in Northeast Minneapolis. I sold it back in 2020, and I retired from there in 2022. A couple of things that I've been proud of. I helped get the Armstrong overpass completed. I've been able to work on, we've got the Fire Station 2 completed. That was one of the things that I was proud of getting done. But at any rate, with that, the things I guess that I'm most looking forward to working on is keeping the community safe, working on getting roads going. All right, thank you.
Candidate Heineman, what is your motivation to run for this office, and what experience or knowledge would help you to serve effectively?
Well, thank you for the question, and thank you for having me and for putting on this forum. This is really good. I know a lot of residents watch this in order to find out more about the candidates, so I appreciate putting this on. I love Ramsey. I moved to Ramsey when I was 2 years old. We lived there for 16 years before I joined the military, and moved out when I was 18. And I've been married for 15 years to a beautiful wife, and we have 5 kids, and we decided to move back to Ramsey in 2019. And immediately returning to Ramsey, I wanted to get involved and give back to the community that helped raise me. I still remember playing football at Central Park or going to school at Pack Charter School. So I wanted to get back and get involved, so I got appointed to the EDA, the Economic Development Authority. After that, I ran for city council when a special election opened up, and I decided to step up and run for that, and I won in February and served about 22 months on the city council. During that time, I was on the Parks and Rec committee, as well as a liaison for the city for the fire department. And then I got deployed, for about 12 months. So I finished my term, I had about 6 months left, finished that term with 6 months. Recently came back about a year and a half ago, have about 6 months left of the military, and I'm currently on the planning commission. So heavily invested in Ramsey. My wife owns a business in Ramsey. We get our taxes done, we bank in Ramsey. So I love the community, and I plan on giving back every way I can.
Candidate Heineman, what are your goals for the future of Ramsey?
So my goals are, we need to look at Ramsey holistically. We have a very diverse community. We have young, old, we have young families, we have people that are reaching retirement, that are looking for those services, and I think my goal is to create a community where we can balance the rural nature of the city as well as invest into the core. We need to continue to work to improve what we have, be good stewards of the finances that we're entrusted with, and continue to build out those attractions that residents are looking for. I mean, we're looking for more restaurants. The Highway 10 construction is going to be huge for that. As soon as that's complete, it's going to really open up some avenues. And then I was able to sit down with our Parks and Rec director, and we really vision cast the waterfront, which is going to be a park in Ramsey in the core, where there's going to be a splash pad and a community meeting area. And I actually worked with the current mayor, Mark Kuzma, on that one. And we came together and really decided we need an attraction, we need a magnet to bring everybody in, young and old. So we're working on that. I'll go into some more detail about that maybe later on if some questions arise that would affect that. But yeah, I want to see our community continue to strive, and I want to respect the heritage that is Ramsey, that rural feel with those large lots, while giving all residents the ability to have places to eat, have places to shop, and to invest into their community.
Candidate Kuzma, what are your goals for the future of Ramsey?
Well, my vision for Ramsey is I'd like to see us build a Mississippi Visitor Center. I'd like to move our old town hall over onto the river and renovate it, and then add on for the visitor center. I think we can move the Historical Society, the Anoka Ramsey Historical Society, into it. I believe that would really make for a must destination stop for Ramsey. And beyond that, I think, like I had mentioned, I'm really for wanting to keep our community safe. I want to fund the police and give them what they need to keep everything safe there. I want to get the roads, keep our roads going strong. We've made good inroads on fixing our roads. We've got parks and trails that we've improved. Overall, I think just creating a safe community is where I really want to see happen.
Thank you, candidates Kuzma and Heineman. I will now ask the candidates to respond to questions submitted by the public, and these responses are limited to 1 minute. So the first question, candidate Kuzma. Many citizens prefer to engage with government using email or social media rather than in person. What means will you use to engage with Ramsey residents?
Well, the old-fashioned way is to get out and talk to people. I enjoy meeting with the residents and visiting with businesses. We have our Ramsey resident, that's our newsletter that goes out to everyone. I do use email, and there's the telephone that still works. Those are probably the main ways that I'll be communicating with people.
Thanks. Candidate Heineman. Many citizens prefer to engage with government using either email or social media rather than in person. What means will you use to engage with Ramsey residents?
Well, I think meeting in person is important, but as the question stated, most people are moving away from that. So it's creating avenues that people can reach you and they feel comfortable for. Because, a lot of people, if they have a concern or they have a question, it may be something that's heavier, maybe something that is a little harder to discuss in person or embarrassing, or maybe they're just upset and they want to have that distance. So one thing that I do is I am very active on social media, not personally. I don't post on my own page, but I'm on the community page, the Ramsey community page, quite a bit. And I do some posting in there, and every time I post, I put my phone number. I list my website for anybody who asks, and I think I have a pretty good track record. When I was on city council for about 22 months, I answered every phone call and responded to every email. And anybody watching this, shoot me a message, message me on Facebook. I'll get back to you right away. I'm here to meet you where you feel comfortable so we can have the most honest conversation possible.
Candidate Heineman, how will you ensure that residents and businesses know about major projects and decisions and have an opportunity to provide input?
Well, so first off, we get a lot of proactive communication out there. We have a Ramsey Facebook page, an Instagram page. Our website was recently redone, so that way you can gather a lot more information. It's spelled out really clearly. They did a really good job updating it. So I definitely suggest following those groups, the Facebook group, the Instagram group, and page bookmarking the website. I think that's important. Also, I think being more direct in what residents are interested is important. So when they ask those questions, we can use those questions to decide what's the best way to disseminate information in the future. So I think we need to be proactive and look at how people are consuming media and then deliver it in that way. And then lastly, nothing beats city council meeting. Come to a city council meeting, there's citizen input at the beginning, and I'll be there early. And if you want to snag me and talk to me on the side before things get too official, I love to hear very informal settings as well.
Candidate Kuzma, how will you ensure that residents and businesses know about major projects and decisions and have an opportunity to provide input?
All right, thank you. It starts with when a project comes to fruition here, it just starts in the Planning Commission, and there's public hearings that happen. There are letters that go out to the community within a certain amount of distance on when something is going to change in their area. There's things get posted in the Ramsey Resident, our website. Our work session is, you can listen to the work session, and then our city council meetings are televised. QCTV is good about promoting our council meetings. So again, coming into at the council meeting is important, and citizen input is another way of being able to voice your opinion about it. And then also, I don't know if I said the Ramsey Resident also will be promoting that as well.
Candidate Heineman, Ramsey needs to attract businesses in order to keep property taxes reasonable for residents. How will you attract businesses without offering them tax incentives? Excuse me, that one goes to Kuzma.
Okay, can we restate that then?
Yes. Ramsey needs to attract businesses in order to keep property taxes reasonable for residents. How will you attract businesses without offering them tax incentives?
Well, I think it's a free market society, so I think people are going to want to do business in Ramsey are going to want to come there because it's a good place to do business. I think one of the biggest things that we've done is got the funding done for Highway 10. When that gets completed, that's going to allow us to be able to move freight much faster, get people to the jobs easier. I believe that really the amount of rooftops that we've got in there with the demographics, it makes Ramsey an attractive place to come to. I think our tax base is fairly decent where people were attractive. Our business park has some opportunity to we have more land to build. So I believe coming to Ramsey is a good place.
Candidate Heineman, Ramsey needs to attract businesses in order to keep property taxes reasonable for residents. how will you attract businesses without offering them tax incentives?
Well, I think I would probably differ a little bit with my opponent here. There's a lot of cities out there, and I don't think we can just expect them to come because our city's a great city. I think we need to take some proactive approaches to go out there and to build a case for Ramsey. I think as we continue to improve the core and continue to build up things like the waterfront and continue to bring in companies like Aldi and Chanticleer Pizza that just moved in, we need to continue to highlight that we're growing, that we have a residency that they're looking for places to go, and we need to go out there and be proactive and start pitching to the companies that we want to bring in. I know our EDA does a good job of managing those conversations, but I think we need to take it a step further and start attracting the companies that we want to be there very proactively. And I think as we build out the core, as we build out the parks, as we build out the infrastructure around it, we need to do it strategically to bring those companies in, because they're going to want a place to go, and we're going to need to make a case for Ramsey, and that's what I'll do as mayor.
Thank you. Candidate Heineman, what is your position on a potential bridge crossing from Ramsey to Dayton, and why?
So that's a hard one, because it's a pretty controversial topic, and I look at things through the lens of, is it good for the residents, and is it something that we should be spending taxpayer dollars on, and that one's kind of split down the middle. I think there's a good case for residents who have large commutes. I mean, if we had a bridge that crossed Mississippi, it would save a lot of people a lot of time. However, it brings lots of traffic into Ramsey. So you kind of have to balance the needs of the rural areas that move to Ramsey in order to have that those quiet neighborhoods, and then also support the businesses that could really benefit. So I think personally that having a bridge that crossed the Mississippi into Ramsey would be a really good idea if we could manage exactly where that bridge goes. So if we could have that bridge go to Highway 10 to keep the traffic on the highway, I think that'd be really important. I don't think what we want to do is turn some of our arterial roads that lead to the rural areas into highways that actually pollute the area with more traffic. So if we do it wisely, I think it's a good idea.
Candidate Kuzma, what is your position on a potential bridge crossing from Ramsey to Dayton, and why?
Well, I can tell you that if you're coming from Champlin into Anoka on Highway 169, the traffic is unbearable to get to Highway 10. And my goal would be to build a collaborative coalition with MnDOT, the North Metro Mayors Association, our state and federal representatives. I believe that the time that I've been able to build relationships with the time I've been on council, that I can get things accomplished, and I want to get it to the point where we can get the conversation going so we could build, plan, and then build the bridge.
Thank you. Candidate Heineman, Candidate Kuzma, excuse me. What is working well in Ramsey, and what will you do to protect the city's strengths?
What I believe is working well in Ramsey is we've got a very good, strong community. Our community development is strong. They've been bringing, as you can see, the growth has been tremendous out there. We have a new water treatment facility that's going to be coming online in 2025. Highway 10 is just about going to be completed. We have another year, I guess, to go on that. Our industrial park is almost built out. Our housing starts at our all-time high. So I believe, our growth in the community is going well. And, our population, when I started in 2012 on council, was about 23,000, and now we're over 28,000. So the city is definitely growing.
Candidate Heineman, what is working well in Ramsey, and what will you do to protect the city's strengths?
So I think a lot of the economic strides that we've made are really important to highlight, but I want to take a moment to highlight our police department and fire department, essentially public safety. We have a very high amount of calls for services, and a lot of the times, if you look at our public safety officials, they're doing a lot with less than other groups. So I think we need to continue to support them. but their ability to perform those duties day and night and continue to watch out for the residents, I think, is huge. We have a police department, especially in today's day and age, when there's a lot of conversations around this, that continuously invest in the community, and they have a community-based, community-orientated based policing philosophy where they're meeting with residents, they are building those relationships, and they're investing into every aspect of the city. So I just wanted to take a moment to say they're doing great. We're going to continue to support them, but both police and fire, and I'm just proud to see everything that they're accomplishing.
Candidate Heineman, what do you think is the best plan for the old Ramsey Town Hall?
Well, I think there's a lot of things we can do with it. I've never thought about picking it up and moving it, but I do like that idea. The problem with the Ramsey Town Hall is it's a beautiful building with a ton of history, but where it's located right now, there's not a lot we can do with it. So I do think moving it would be a good idea. But as far as what we do with it, we need to make sure that it's a staple of the city, that we continue to honor the heritage. I like the idea. When I was in college, I studied history, and we had to do a capstone project on a specific time in history. And I would love to see the city do a deep dive into the Ramsey City Hall, the city of Ramsey, where we came from, all the accomplishments we've made, and I'd like to see the old town hall house all that. So when people move to Ramsey, they have a place to go where they can say, this is where we came from, this is who we are, and just honor those traditions, because we've been around for a while, and I think it's time that we show people exactly what we're capable of.
Candidate Kuzma, I know you touched on this in your opening statement, but what do you think is the best plan for the old Ramsey Town Hall?
Not enough cities are talking about their origin. And did you know that the Ramsey has several unsuccessful attempts to become the territorial governor or capital of Minnesota? And the ox cart trail. I mean, the history of Ramsey is just amazing, and so I believe that by moving the old town hall over somewhere on the river there, we're almost at the gateway going up to the headwaters, and so I think Ramsey's not going to get a lot of the big box stores here, so having a destination place to come, so that's why I think the Mississippi Visitor Center would really be an attraction that will bring people to Ramsey, and then that's going to fill out some of our shops and our restaurants and that type of stuff. So I really think that would be a great thing for our community.
Candidate Kuzma, can you give an example of a time that you successfully worked with someone with different views from yours to accomplish a goal?
Sure, I believe, I think, PAC charter would probably be a good one. There was quite a bit of controversy about the neighbors not wanting to have that school built in their neighborhood, and so after a number of council meetings and phone calls and conversations that we've had, I think ultimately, successfully, the school was built, and there's harmony in the neighborhood.
Candidate Heineman, can you give an example of a time that you successfully worked with someone with different views from yours to accomplish a goal?
Yeah, I think an important time that happened was when I came on the city council. There was something called the franchise fee, and it was a $15 fee across two $7 fees, about $14 on two different utility bills. And there was a large consensus by the community to get rid of it. And when I came on, the previous council, they had voted it through, and I decided to write a new plan that would actually move the constructions of new roads onto the tax levy, where it's a transparent tax. Everybody can see exactly where it is and address the bubble that we had with our Ramsey Road projects. And it was a little hard. We had a split vote on that one, and it wasn't going to move forward. And worked with a council member I don't usually work with, Matt Westerhoff, who's been on for a while, and he's stepping down. But he came over and sided with me and with a couple other council members, Dan Specht and Deborah Musgrove, in order to pass it, because our road funding was going to fail if we didn't. So I think sometimes having a shared goal, how you get there doesn't really matter, but that shared goal is important.
Thank you. So candidate Heineman, are you aware of any proposals from city staff, and do you have an opinion on any?
Yes, I'm very aware of proposals by city staff. I haven't been on the council for about a year and a half now, but I still follow the council meetings. They do a great job of posting their minutes, and you can go and watch them on QCTV. So I follow quite a bit. You know, they're everywhere from, you know, fire trucks. Are we going to buy a new fire truck? Is that fire truck actually going to serve the purpose it's supposed to? I was talking to a city firefighter who said we don't even have a fire truck that's capable of aerial rescues because our apartment buildings are getting so tall. And it could go down to the current discussion they're having right now about the printers. Do we buy new printers? Do we wait? So there's quite a bit of information that you can find about Ramsey and the direction we're going and the conversations we have. The city site does a great job of posting those agendas, so you can look forward and you can look back in the minutes. So those are a couple of examples: fire trucks, copiers, but it ranges from something as large as a $1.2 million fire truck to a $7,000 printer.
Candidate Kuzma, are you aware of any proposals from city staff, and do you have an opinion on any?
When we're currently going through our budgeting process right now, and so during the start of the budgeting process, staff does come up with a preliminary budget of what the wants and needs are of the city, and then we go through them basically on a line by line item and determine what's going to work or not. And I think, you know, typically the first time around, you know, the council will nix quite a bit of the stuff that we don't need, kind of the wants, more about needs, and then those stuff will go back to the staff, and they'll work on trimming that down, and ultimately between council and staff, we agree to get down to a point where we're going to get something that's plausible.
Candidate Kuzma, this question is a little bit similar to one we just asked a little while ago here, and it's, what is your approach to conflict, and how will you handle conflict with council members, city staff, and residents? So maybe you want to expand on what you said before about conflict. Maybe you would like to address how you might do it differently with council members versus staff versus residents.
Well, I think, you know, there was a time where our council seemed to be quite divided, and we really weren't getting anything accomplished because the viewpoints are so far apart. And I think one of the things that we were able to do is to just sit down and have a meeting with our attorney. Was the one that was the facilitator on that. And when we got done with the meeting, you know, we were able to really just kind of talk through the issues, and I think we all came to an understanding that we need to work together. And ultimately, it's been really, things have been working out pretty well. I think that we can have differing opinions on things, but in terms of a conflict, we really haven't had any major dust-ups.
Candidate Heineman, what is your approach to conflict, and how will you handle conflict between council members, city staff, and residents? And again, you might want to expand on what you said before or address it a little differently.
Yeah, thank you. Conflict is natural, and conflict is good because it's a refining process, but you want it to be constructive. So I think the first thing you need to do when you find yourself in a disagreement with anybody, and this is the council, this is family, this is work, is you really have to challenge yourself to think from their perspective. Doesn't mean you have to change your views, and you probably won't, but you have to understand their argument and where they're coming from. If you can't recite their argument back to them better than they recited it to you, you're probably having some communication issues. So you can go ahead and address those. Then the second thing is a lot of people get focused on what they want instead of why they want it. So a lot of times if you can move from what to why, you can find a shared why, and then you can figure out how to get to solve that. But if you're not willing to listen to the other person, to internalize what they're saying, to actually, you know, gamify it against yourself, be that 12th man, be that person that argues, you know, the devil as an advocate against your own views, you're just going to get farther entrenched into your own beliefs. And as somebody who is very confident in what I believe in and feel like I have a good grasp on my worldview, I don't often change, but I think what happens is when you understand their perspective, you find that shared why, and you come together and you find a way to solve it regardless of how you do it.
Candidate Heineman, what is your opinion of doing a study of speed limits and traffic on Nowthen Boulevard and Ramsey Boulevard?
Well, studies obviously cost money, so I think it's always important before you make a decision to consider, the taxpayers and how it's going to affect them. However, in the grand scheme of things, with how large of an impact speed limits and traffic has on major roadways, I think it's worth it. I haven't personally had any residents come to me one way or the other talking about speed limits specifically. But I think if the issue arises and it can be solved with a traffic study, it's a relatively small expense, and I think it's justified by the amount of people it affects. So I think a traffic study is fine. I drive up and down Armstrong, Nowthen, 47, Sunfish all day. My kids go to Pact, and I work in the area. My wife has a business in Ramsey, so I travel all the roads. I haven't seen too many issues, but yeah, if it's warranted, I think it's definitely reasonable to do.
Candidate Kuzma, what is your opinion of doing a study of speed limits and traffic on Nowthen Boulevard and Ramsey Boulevard?
Well, one thing about the speed limits is that doesn't necessarily always equate to the outcome. Is sometimes when they do the speed studies, if the traffic count's low, it's possible they could increase it. So I think we have to be careful about what we ask for. Not in this case of then it's more about I think the traffic counts, and to me, I'm concerned about traffic, especially in the neighborhoods, moving too fast. So, but yeah, I think at 5 and was it Ramsey Boulevard there? I think if it warrants it, then we should go forward with it.
Candidate Kuzma, what areas for improvement are there in Ramsey, and how would you work to improve them?
Well, we just built a new park, and we're going to have a dedication to it in the next couple weeks here. I think September, maybe 16th, and it's a really unique park. It's built in the trees, so it's up off the ground and through a whole bunch of trees. I think it's one of the coolest parks I've ever seen. So that's an improvement to one of our parks. We've got a number of trails that we're continually working on to improve. Obviously, roads are a continual problem that we're constantly working on to increase our funding to get those completed. And I think the other part is just with some of our newer neighborhoods, trying to balance the urban versus rural becomes challenging.
Candidate Heineman, what areas for improvement are there in Ramsey, and how would you work to improve them?
I think a big area of improvement is spending. We got to figure out a plan for spending, because it's not even doing it intentionally, like the city's asking for more than they need, but we're finding ourselves where houses are lowering in value as the market slows down, and that's gonna deplete the tax base a little bit. When I came on, the year before I came on, we had $14.8 million in spending, and the 2 years that I was on, it was 14.4 and 14.7. The last 2 years, it's been $17 million and $20.8 million. So it's gone up 29% since I've been off the council. And we could have an argument about, are we overspending? Are we asking too much? But we're going to find ourselves in a position where property tax that's going to be collected isn't going to be enough to support the spending. So I think we're going to have to take a hard look at, do we replace, we don't want to replace any employees, but as they leave, as they retire, do we replace it with contractors? Do we save money by working in different areas? I think we're going to have some hard looks at that, because spending is getting a little high right now.
Candidate Kuzma, what do you think is the most urgent challenge Ramsey currently faces, and what would you do to address it? Excuse me, that's Candidate Heineman.
Oh, could you repeat that one more time, please?
What do you think is the most urgent challenge Ramsey currently faces, and what would you do to address it?
Yeah, I guess I'll hit back on the spending. Like I said, it's hard to spend less, especially when you have needs, because Ramsey does have needs. It's not a wants problem. It is a needs problem. We have, as I said, a fire truck that's coming out of or that's going to need to be replaced. $1.2 million. That's a huge amount. I was talking to the firefighter, like I said, a couple days ago, and he was saying we don't even have an alternate set of uniforms. So if they go to house fire, they're going to need to take off that set of uniforms and then decontaminate it. And during that time, they don't have a set to go to respond to fires tell. So the needs aren't going to go away, but how we find that money, especially as our tax base, because of property taxes goes down, is super important. So as far as urgency, we need to be good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars, and we need to find a way to start dropping prices while maintaining the same level of service. So we're going to have to get creative. We're going to have to generate some revenue from different means, and I can talk about that later on if the question arises.
Candidate Kuzma, what do you think is the most urgent challenge Ramsey currently faces, and what would you do to address it?
I think our first thing we have to get completed now is getting our budget for next year settled. And we're in a process right now of negotiating 4 different contracts with our employees. 4 of the unions, or 3 of the unions are with the police. One of the unions is with AFSCME, that's our city employees. We've had 3-year contracts previously, and during that time we fell pretty far behind, so we need to get caught up with that. So I think balancing the capital improvement requests that we need, equipment-wise, and then our wages that we have to get worked on. I think settling our budget for next year is going to be a real challenge, but we're working through that. That's my goal, is to get that settled.
Okay, this is the last question here. If you had all the money and authority necessary, what one thing would you do to benefit the Ramsey community? And that goes to candidate Kuzma.
If I had all the money in the world, I'd get that bridge to the Dayton built. I think that's one of my priorities, and I'd also like to see us have the Mississippi Visitor Center completed as well.
Candidate Heineman, if you had all the money and authority necessary, what one thing would you do to benefit the Ramsey community?
I think I would invest heavily in youth sports. I know that youth sports is very important for kids. It's important for families. It brings people together, and it brings economic development into areas. I would work really hard to start building Ramsey up as the West Sports complex of the Metro. I think we bring in youth sports. We continue to invest in that. We attract businesses. We attract restaurants. We attract young families that are going to want to raise their kids and enjoy our schools and our parks. I think if we can invest into revenue generating streams like recreation, like youth sports, it's just going to continue to improve our community, and it's going to bring in young families. And who doesn't want young families to come in and continue to make Ramsey a wonderful place to live? As I said, I grew up in Ramsey, played sports in the city, and I had a great time, and I just want to see that opportunity available for more and more young families.
Thank you. Now we're going to go on to our closing statements, and the candidates, you'll have 1 minute for your closing statement, and we'll start with you, candidate Heineman.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for everybody that's watching. Have family members and friends that wanted to tune in, and they'll be checking it out once it airs. Special shout out to Tyler and Erica who will be watching, but also just to the residents. This is our time to share a vision with you, and to really kind of put ourselves out there as what our priorities are. My priority is making sure that people's individual rights are respected, that law enforcement is well taken care of, that our roads are repaired and built in a fiscally meaningful manner, and that we just continue to work with the Ramsey resident at the heart of all of our decisions, it's got to make sense and it's got to benefit the customer. And there are employers, the Ramsey residents, they vote for us. So if you vote for me for mayor, I will continue to work hard and invest in the community and be somebody of service. Like I said, I joined the military when I was 17, and I'm here to just continue to dig deep and to be available for any resident who needs me.
Thank you. Candidate Kuzma.
Well, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for putting this forum on. I want to also thank QCTV for having us. I believe that this is very important for our residents to have an opportunity to see how our views differ. I've been mayor for the last 4 years. I was served as the Ward 2 councilman for the previous 2 terms on that, so it's 12 years that I've been on council. I believe that with the time that I've been on council, the experience that I've gotten, I'm going to be the best candidate to help get us through the next 4 years. And I want to thank everybody.
Thank you. The League of Women Voters thanks you also here. And thanks for speaking to voters about issues and for running for mayor for Ramsey. And we want to thank the viewers and those who submitted questions. Links to all forums are located at lwvabcmn.org. The general election is November 5th, and early voting starts on Friday, September 20th. Many cities offer early voting. Check the website for your city or visit the Anoka County Elections Office in the city of Anoka. You can register to vote, update your registration, find information on voting options, and find your polling place online at mnvotes.org or the Secretary of State's website. You can register or update your registration at your polling place on Election Day. The Minnesota Secretary of State's website will tell you what documents to bring. And if you're interested in the League of Women Voters, visit our website at lwvabcmn.org. Women and men age 16 and older are welcome to join. Your vote is your voice. Make your voice heard by voting in the general election. Thank you.